after the Attorney General's investigation found that he sexually harassed 11 women. Earlier this week, he tried the "I hug and kiss everyone, it's how I was brought up" defense. And playing a bizarre video of him grabbing and kissing a variety of different people. 5 district attorneys' offices now, however, are investigating the accusations. And today, one accuser, Cuomo's former executive assistant, who says he reached under her shirt and groped her, has filed a criminal complaint. But his attorneys are making it seem like he is the victim.
The governor deserves to be treated fairly. He has spent 40 years in public life. And for him to all of a sudden be accused of a sexual assault of an executive assistant that he really doesn't know doesn't pass muster. If you accept this report as is, that is an irresponsible and a new standard for impeachment.
Wow, so I guess if he knew her, he would have sexually assaulted her. I don't know. Joining me now is Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett and New York City Councilman Joe Borelli, also of that culture that at one point Cuomo mentioned that makes him touch everyone. Being an Italian there, you've got a few vowels there in your name, Joe. Look, we'll get you in 1 second. There's a lot to unpack here. Greg, could we actually see eventually Andrew Cuomo getting arrested here? But considering his attorney and her approach, I'm thinking that suddenly is a lot more possible.
Yeah, I watched the news conference and the defense by the attorneys. If that's the quality of legal representation that Cuomo has, he'd be well advised to get better and smarter lawyers. Their efforts at defending him were at times quite ludicrous. But the question, could he actually be criminally charged? Absolutely. Forcibly lifting up the blouse of an individual and fondling her breasts is a crime. It's assault and battery. It's also under Penal Code Section 130, forcible touching, which is, groping and massaging the private parts and sexual parts of another individual against their will. It's forcible if it's unwanted, and that is precisely what the accuser is describing here. So it is not far-fetched that he could be criminally charged and face a trial.
And of course, in New York, Joe, that nobody ever goes actually to jail these days. So maybe that's why Albany was interested in making that the case with no bail. But Joe, we're talking about impeachment now. I think there's 4 different criminal investigations happening. One in Manhattan, one in Albany, and a couple of others. For those watching who are not New Yorkers, impeachment seems to be moving along in the Assembly. How long could something like that take?
Yeah, I think it will be done within 30 to 60 days. I was a member of the state legislature for a while, and I know the calculation that so many members are making right now, and they realize that they cannot sell this in their home districts. They're all facing a primary within the next year, and they really do see the evidence that we see on the night every day in the news, where this is so far beyond what the governor's defense is trying to portray. These aren't misunderstandings. These aren't because he's Italian. Bad men invite underlings to their executive chamber and their house and grope them and try to do things with them that are completely inappropriate. This is what bad people do. And the Assembly, by the way, is not just investigating the sexual harassment. They're also investigating the corrupt book deal and, of course, the 15,000 deaths in nursing homes.
Yeah, that's a dynamic where a lot of people are feeling that if there's going to be an impeachment, it's over the 15,000 people being sent to their deaths. And you mentioned it briefly, but I think it's important to note every Italian and every American should be insulted by the assignation of a horrible behavior to people because of their ethnicity. And Cuomo did exactly that in defending himself, didn't he?
Yeah, and to his father's credit, his father always spent time trying to decrease the Italian-American negative stereotypes that have been out there. I'm sure his father would be very upset that he's trying to fall back on this now.
Yeah, and of course, when we think about the Assembly, Greg, and the issue of retaliation, I want you to hear one more thing that the Cuomo lawyer had to say today. Listen to this.
The state trooper, is she still assigned to protect the governor? And is what is being done to protect her and others who have spoken out with these claims against the governor against potential retaliation?
The whole world is watching right now. people are not going to be retaliated against by Governor Cuomo.
I mean, that on its face is absurd.
Well, first of all, the whole world's not watching. He's been in hiding ever since the report came out. And her other defense today was, well, he's 63 years old and he's been in public life for 40 years. And all of a sudden, these complaints are coming up. Well, Harvey Weinstein got away with it for decades until women finally came forward. So that's no defense at all. Her other defense was, well, he didn't sexually assault executive assistant number 1 on November 16th because he can account for his whereabouts the entire day and she wasn't there. That's fine, except she never said it happened on November 16th.
Yeah.
Read the report. She's very specific and says, I don't know the precise date. So again, that's no defense at all either.
It's an extraordinary dynamic. It's like a clown car, but really people's lives and frames of mind and mental health are at stake when it comes to that kind of an experience. So clearly far from over, but not a good week for the Love Gov. Thank you, Greg. Thank you.